We're looking at statement of capital here now. So we start off at the beginning of the question and look at separating the things that are given at the top of the question to assets and liabilities. And then we look at the rest of the question and see, is there anything else in there that could have been relevant to either last year or just to something that might be an asset or liability at the beginning of this year that we've carried over from last year. Okay. So what I've done here is land and buildings, vehicles, all of those. These are the assets and these are liabilities that I got from the top of the question. Now notice that it says investment interest due and it's 2 months investment interest due. Okay, so I need to work out, that means that I'm going to have an investment. And while I'm doing this, it's usually a useful idea to go down through the rest of the question and see is there anything else. So if I go to my profit and loss account, I know that there's going to be an investment income for this year. Okay. Now, it says at the beginning that, and I'm just going to, this is notes, okay, so I'll have beside it, so investment income. So the investment income for 2 months is 340. That means the investment income for the full year is, if that's 2 months, that means it's 170 a month, so it'll be 170 times 12. So that's the annual figure for investment income. So I'll put that in there. Now, if I go back to the top of the question, so 2040 is the figure for the year. So I need to work out what the investment itself is. So 2040 is 2.5%. So I need to work out, and just put, this is the investment. So again, you're just showing the examiner what you're doing. Just so that they understand what this rough work is meant to represent. So if I divide 2040, so if I divide that by 2.5 and then multiply by 100, that will give me the value of the original of the investment itself. So the investment is 81,600. Okay, so that's the first thing that came up as I went down through this here. Other thing I see at the top, I've got a figure for bank. I need to put that number in. So bank is 41,600. Now looking down through here, anything relevant to last year? Oh, you got a bank loan. Now, so that means that I'm going to have loan interest for the year, and there'll be loan interest due. So I'm going to have a loan in here as a liability. I'll have loan interest due. And there must have been a loan expense then for this year, so I'll put that in as well. Now, what I need to do is I need to separate, because I've just given a total figure here, so I need to find how much is the loan itself. So the loan, now, we have 32,200, and that represents how much? So the bank loan plus 24 months, that's 2 years interest of 7.5%. So we've paid 7.5%, so it's 15%. So that means that 32,200 is the loan, which is 100% plus 15% interest. So 115%, okay, is what I get. So if I separate those out to try and find the value of the loan itself, so it'll be 32,200 divided by 115 and then multiply the answer by 100. So 28,000 is the loan. Fantastic. So my loan interest due, so if I just do this in terms of months, so it was repaid on the 30th of the 5th. That means 5 months was this year, so the remaining 5 and 24, so 19 months must have been due at the beginning. So the interest then is going to be 28 times 0.075 times 19 months, out of 19 of an annual figure of 12 months. Let's just go through it again. So it's the amount of the loan times 7.5% times for how many months of a year. So 19 months, so it's well over a year interest due at the beginning. So 5 months then is going to be our interest down here in my loan expense. So 28 grand times 0.075, and that gives us a full year's loan interest. Sorry, no, we only paid 5 months of it, times 5/12 because we pay it back 5 months into the year. Okay, now as you're doing these questions, it's always a useful idea, if you're doing a statement of capital and something comes up that's relevant to one of the other documents that we're doing, it would be a good idea to put that in as we go. But for this video, I'm going to primarily focus just on the statement of capital. So I read down through the rest of the question here. Is there anything else here that was relevant to the beginning of this year? No, all of this is stuff that happened during the year, or things that we have assets and liabilities at the end of the year, which would go into our balance sheet if we're going to do our balance sheet, but we're not doing it in this question. So now what I'll do is I'll add up my assets, add up my liabilities, and I'll end up with a statement of capital.